Hi everybody, this is Fitz Rabin. It's been quite a while since the last time I created a video. I've missed it, but it's also been a very important period of going inside and working on some things on the inside. Help deepen my state of being, my alignment, deepen the sense of authenticity and integrity in my life. And tonight I'm moved to share something. This was born in a coaching dialogue with someone last week. And this person is standing at the threshold of needing to make some decisions about his future. What line of work will he go into? Will he go into business, corporate opportunities? Will he go into the service, kind of like more of like a service industry or Klikoidish or Judaic, rabbinical role of some sort? And he was talking about his need or the urge to have objective clarity, independent, like confirmation, like outside confirmation, and like a clarity that comes from the outside, like from some like objective authority, so to speak, about what the right thing for him is to do. That's very, very normal. So many of us wish we had kind of that someone that we could lean on, maybe like the Rebbe, or some other entity, perhaps, whatever that may be, but something outside of ourselves that confirms and affirms that the decision we're making, the choice we're making, the path we're pursuing is the right one for us. It would put us at ease, right? It would reassure us. It would make us more comfortable within ourselves and on the path. So we were exploring this together, and it was very, very interesting what came up in the conversation. During the conversation, a distinction was created in which this person started to discover and see for himself that wanting certainty about the choice or the path was actually futile, because there really is no such thing. This is the nature of the game of life, is that we make choices, we make decisions, we pursue different pathways, whether it's in career or relationships or otherwise. And sometimes they're successful and sometimes they're not. And sometimes it's a mixed bag. And at the end of the day, that's what makes life what it is. The trials, the tribulations, the ups, the downs, the wins, the losses, the successes, the failures. That's what makes it what it is, makes it a challenge. It also makes it an adventure. It also makes it a learning experience, a journey. So there's really, but we feel vulnerable in that. We feel exposed in that, right? And the truth is that therein lies the vulnerability of being human. That is precisely where it lies, is that possibility of messing up, that possibility of failing, that possibility of just getting it all wrong, that possibility of making a mess and then having to clean it up. It is precisely that risk, it's precisely that exposure, it's precisely that vulnerability and that unpredictability that actually constitutes the experience in life. And on the one hand, it's a responsibility. On the other hand, it's also a thrill and an adventure and a learning process and a journey. But that's really the nature of life. On some level, we know there's a spiritual teaching in Judaism and Chassidus that angels are called standing. Human beings are called moving. And this is one of the ways we can think of that, right? The angel stands in one place. There is no risk. There is no vulnerability. There is no exposure. There is no uncertainty for the angel. It's total predictability. It's complete certainty. The angel stands in a state of consciousness and awareness of the divine presence, stands in awe of it, and stands constantly in a total clarity of its purpose and mission, totally subservient to God, and just does whatever he's ordered to do, fulfills whatever mission happens to be assigned, and that's it. The human being, on the other hand, moves. What does it mean he moves? We could think of it sometimes, you fall, you get up, right? You go 2 steps forward, you move 1 step backward. Sometimes it even feels like it's 2 steps backwards, 1 step forward. But there's movement, right? That movement creates risk. That movement is a function of unpredictability, of uncertainty. So that's really the nature of being alive and the nature of participating in this life fully. So it's a misplaced, it's the desire for certainty about the choice and about the path is misplaced. Where is the appropriate place to put certainty, or to expect certainty, or to derive certainty? It's actually in 2 places. Not the actual choice, the actual path, but rather put certainty in God, in your Creator, certainty in the infinite, in the infinity of His wisdom, the infinity of His love, the infinity of His grace, certainty in that He knows what He's doing, certainty in that His plan and His agenda is perfect. Hatzur Tamim Pa'oloi, the rock, all of His functions, all of His doings are perfect, right? So there's certainty that we can have about that God is perfect, His plans are perfect, and everything is unfolding according to the most perfect design that could possibly ever be. We can cultivate certainty about that. And then there's another thing we can cultivate certainty about, is about ourselves. If God has put us here, and God has put us in this situation, and God has put us in this opportunity, and God has put us at this crossroads, God has given us this life to live, then we can put certainty in ourselves that we are equipped with the wherewithal. We're equipped with the resourcefulness. We're equipped with the capacity to handle it, to absorb it, to absorb the failures, the losses, but come back, rebound, grow, recover, overcome, make progress, right? He's put us here. And so that's another place where we can put certainty in myself to handle what comes, to be able to rectify the mistakes that I make, to be able to take responsibility for the places where I mess up and fix them up. Okay? So it's not certainty in the particular choice that I make doesn't exist. It's a misplacement of certainty. However, certainty in the one making the choice, which is myself, and in my capacity to make good choices, or my capacity to learn from the mistakes I make in the choice-making process, or my capacity to go deeper, to heal, to fix, to grow, whatever it is that I need in order to recover and continue making progress and continue going. In the case of a failure, in the case of a mess-up, that's a wonderful place to put certainty. As a matter of fact, when you put your certainty there, you're so much more free. You're so much more open. You're so much more available. And you can have so much more fun. And that is also a mirror reflection of the certainty in God, your Creator, in His master plan. That He will not lead you astray. That He will not lead you into the abyss. Right? But that He's got a plan, and you're perfectly placed to do what you need to do. Okay? So an interesting metaphor that comes to me, right, is, so the first option is try to achieve certainty in the choice itself, right? In the career choice, in the relationship choice, in the choice of who you're going to marry. Is this the right woman to marry? Is this the right, path to pursue? Whatever it is, try to put choice in certainty in the choice, and by that way mitigating all sense of risk or vulnerability or exposure. That's one. The other option is actually put your certainty in 2 places, not the choice, but rather in God, who's created this whole setup and put you here, and in yourself as the player chosen by God and given the capabilities to be resilient, to overcome, right? So if you think about it, it's a move from, it's almost like if you think about it, if someone is standing with their 2 legs together, right? So both of their legs standing together like this creates one kind of pillar, right? You're kind of like standing on a single pillar because your two legs aren't put together. Now, when you're standing like that, it's very easy to get knocked off balance, right? Someone throws a ball at you, or you're trying to reach over to one side. You can easily lose your balance, right? Because all of your weight is being distributed, only on this one single pillar. So the moment, your weight kind of leans over to one side or the other too much for whatever reason, there you go, you just fall. But on the other hand, what if you spread your legs apart and you stand on two legs, right? Like this. And you're able to sway back and forth. Your weight is distributed evenly between two pillars, right? It gives you so much more flexibility, so much more latitude. You can move, you can catch things, you can even tolerate more of a stronger winds. All kinds of stuff you can handle more because you are now distributing your weight in both of your legs, and they're spread apart. So it's like two pillars that you're standing on. And it's a similar thing over here. Instead of trying to pin certainty on that one thing, on that choice, and make sure it's the perfect choice, and make sure it's the perfect path, and make sure it's the perfect decision, and make sure it's foolproof and ironclad and bulletproof, no. Diversify that. Take that certainty, that quest for certainty, and divide it. Split it up. Diversify it between two different points. Certainty in God, His infinite wisdom, His love, His care, His purpose for you, His plan, and then in you as the player chosen by Him to be put in this place and in this time, to tolerate life, to handle the responsibilities that are coming your way, to be a co-creator with Him, right? To play all out and give it your all and deal with the mess-ups and the failures and learn from them and grow. So you're diversifying the certainty. Instead of having the certainty all concentrated just on the one, you're splitting it. And that gives you that latitude. That gives you that freedom. That gives you that leeway. And you can now handle so much more of life and so much more of what's coming at you. And it becomes an adventure. And it all becomes a learning process and a growth process, and something that's continuing to evolve you and bring you closer to God and closer to your own potential and who you really are. That was the distinction, right? Diversifying the certainty from being pinned on knowing you have the perfect choice and being certain about that, to certainty in God and certainty in your own capacity, your own competence, and your own ability to survive it all and to thrive through it all, no matter what. And then your heart is open. And then you unleash so much more of your own resourcefulness, so much more of your own creativity, and so much more of your success. Sending you love. Bye-bye.